Hi guys, so today I'll be doing an example on stacks. So I'll be evaluating a postfix expression in using a stack implementation. So we'll be using the java.util stack package to do this. We're not going to create our own stack implementation, but we'll just use the stack class. So it's this is an intermediate program. So if you're not sure what's happening, don't worry, just try to understand. And I'll be doing a Java Basics series after this series, after JavaFX, so in 2 series, so I'll start that soon. So first, I've created 2 classes, postfix evaluator.java and main.java. So we'll start in the postfix evaluator class. So I'll just define the class, public class, postfix evaluator. And then we'll import java.util.stack, and then we'll import the scanner, java.util.scanner. So we'll start with creating some private variables, so private final, and then their static, private final static variables. And it's a car, and then we'll just call it add, and then we'll set it equal to plus. And then we'll do the same for subtract, multiply, and divide. So private final static car subtract. Remember, finals are defined in capitals. You don't have to, but they should be. So then we'll just put a subtraction sign in there. Then private final static char we'll do multiply equals the asterisk for multiplication. And then we'll do private final static char and then divide equals just backslash for divide. Then we'll create another private variable. We'll create a stack variable. So private stack, it's going to hold an integer object, so it's a integer, and then we'll call it stack. Then we'll create a constructor, so public postfix evaluator, and then we'll set stack equal to new stack integer, and then 2 brackets and then a semicolon. So then we'll so stack equals new stack integer, so that stack has been instantiated to a whole stack containing integer objects. It's currently empty. So we'll just say that this program public class postfix, we'll do it up here, so we'll say represents an integer evaluator of postfix expressions, assumes the operands are constants. So if you don't know what a postfix expression is, it's just like, so like an infix expression is like what normal math is, so it's like 5 plus 6 equals whatever, 11. But for this infix, postfix, it's written in like this. 5, 6 plus. So the plus gets put in between the 6. You do that manually, it's not going to do it. Well, it does that in a lot of programming languages, like they do it this way. They evaluate expressions this way because it's easier. But the way we're going to do it now, if you're copying out by hand or whatever, you're going to have to just kind of put the plus in there, and then there's going to be more numbers like this and like that. So you scan it from left to right, you do it from left to right. So we'll go over that after. So then we'll do the evaluate method. So we'll say public int evaluate, and then it'll take a parameter. It'll take a string and we'll call it expr for expression for short. And then we'll create some local variables, so int op1 and then op2 and then result equals 0. And then we'll create a string variable named token, just empty right now, and then we'll say scan equals new scanner, and then we'll pass in expr. So it's going to scan in later on when we call this method on an object and we input a parameter. It's going to scan that parameter in and it's going to go right there. So then now we will say while, we'll create a while loop and we'll say while scan dot has next. Then we'll say token equals scan dot next. So it's saying while the scanner has something next in its iteration, or it just in its what it's holding, if it's scanning anything, whatever it has. So the has next is a boolean. So if it does have something, so if it's true that it has something, then then token is equal to scan dot whatever the next token that it's holding. I think they call it tokens in the theory. So they're saying if the scanner has a token, then the token equals to the next token that it has. So it's asking, does it have a token? Yes, if it's true, then our string token is now equal to whatever it's holding next. So if it's holding like a 5, then it's going to be true. This is going to pass. This condition is going to pass into these brackets because it's saying it's true, it has something. Then now it says that string is equal to 5 because 5 was what it was holding. So then now we'll say if, and then we're going to create a method here. We'll call it is operator token. So we'll come back to that. We'll create this method first, a new method. So it's a private, it's a boolean, and we'll call it is operator. And it's going to take a string token as a parameter. And the boolean method's asking that it returns true if token dot equals plus, or token dot equals negative, or a subtraction, or token dot equals multiplication, or token dot equals division. So when you call the is operator if is operator like that. It's saying it returns true if is operator. So it's saying if token dot equals plus or token dot equals subtract or token dot equals multiply or token dot equals divide, return true, else return false. So here returns true if token equals plus minus multiply or divide, else returns false. So it's saying if is operator if token dot equals plus, if token dot equals subtract, if token dot equals multiply, if token dot equals divide, then do this stuff. But if not, do something else. So we'll fill in this brackets first. So we'll say if it does equal plus or whatever, subtract, divide, multiply, then we'll say op2 equals we'll call stack.pop, and then we'll say dot int value. Should be two brackets there, I think. Token dot int value 1. op2 equals stack.pop dot int value. Should be right. Then we'll say op1 equals stack.pop int value. So int value returns the value of this integer object as a primitive type int. So we're just basically it just does a conversion of that, because a stack can only hold objects. So it's going to convert that object, that integer object, because integer is a wrapper class, right? Capital INT EGER. That's an integer class that represents integer objects. So it's gonna convert those to a primitive type, just a normal integer. So then after that, we'll say result equals, and then we're gonna create a new method here. So it's called evaluate single operator. So we'll create that down here. Sometimes it's better just to do these first and then come back to that. But we could just do it right now. So it's going to be a private int, then evaluate single operator, and it's going to take a character operation and an int op1 and int op2. Then we'll create a local integer int variable, so we'll say int result equals 0. And then we'll use a switch. So switch operation. So then we'll say case add result equals op1 plus op2. Break. We'll say case subtract. We'll say result equals op1 minus op2. break, case, multiply. Then we'll say result equals OP1 times OP2, break, then case divide. Then we'll set result equal to OP1 divided by OP2. Then no break. Then here, under here, we'll return result because it's a int method, so we have to return an int. Save that, and then we'll go back. I'll explain this after. So we'll do a run through, but we'll just go back for now. Just try to follow along for now. So we'll say so we have is operator. So if it is, so is operator returns true if, right? So if is operator returns true if token dot equals plus, token dot equals minus, token dot equals multiply, token dot equals subtract. So if is operator is one of those tokens, if it's true, right? Because this returns true if it's one of these. So if that's true, then we're going to go into these braces here. It's going to go directly from here. It's going to go right in there. Then it's going to hit these statements. So it's going to say op1 equals stack.pop. So we'll go over that after. So then after all that, if it's not, so right now we're at the part where it's not one of these. So the string that we're going to enter in for this method, it's not one of those. So if it's false, then we're going to say stack.push. Then we're going to push new integer. And then we're going to push result. Oh no, we're going to push, what's wrong, did I do that up here? Actually, you know what, let's go, okay, let's finish this here, let's finish this. So stack.push, new integer, then we'll say integer dot parse int, then we'll say token. So remember, parse int, all it does is, why is that like that? So remember, parse int, all it does is it takes a string and it returns an integer, so it's looking for an integer, so it's parsing as an int. It's taking your string, whatever it is, and it's looking for a number, so it's going to convert that string into an integer. So we'll go back up here, if is operator, so if it returns one of these, so if it is an operator, right, so then we're going to say result equals evaluate single operator, and then we're going to put some parameters in here for that, so we'll say token.char at 0, then op1, and then op2. That should be okay, I think. op1, op2. Okay, then after that we'll call stack.push. So we're going to push something onto our stack, and we'll say new integer, and then result. Why is that like that? Deprecate. Hopefully this works, because this is like an old code, so it might not work. It might not compile, but it's the same thing, so I'll just explain it manually if it doesn't work. Because I tried it in VS Code last time and it was saying that it's like that they don't support this anymore. But we'll just try it out. Either way, you get the idea what's happening. So after all that, we will return result under here. Okay, so after that, I think that's it. If we got everything, so we got this. Add, subtract, multiply, divide, we got create the stack. We got the evaluate method. We got while, if, we got else, then we got return, we did if is operator, and then we did evaluate single operator, so that should be it. We'll just go to we'll save that, and then we'll go to the main class. So we'll just call it main, so public class main. Then we'll import the scanner, import java.util.scanner, and then we will create our command line arguments, public static void main string array args, and then we'll create some variables, string expression, and then again, and then we'll create another int, so we'll say int result, then we'll say scanner scan equals new scanner, and then system.in. If you're used to calling scanner keyboard or whatever, that's fine too. I just call it scan because I'm used to that. So then we'll just create a loop, use a do loop. So we're saying do this. We'll create an object of postfix evaluator. And we'll call it evaluator, postfix evaluator, evaluator equals new postfix evaluator. So notice how we did not use any constructor here. So we're not taking, we created a constructor, right? But we didn't, so excuse me, we did create a constructor, but this constructor did not take any parameters. That's why we're not putting anything in here, right? We're not creating any object parameters. The only parameters we're going to create is for this method. So then we'll say system.out.println, then enter a valid postfix expression 1 token at a time, with a space in between each token. So we'll just say example, or just say example 5, 4. Remember there's a space after everything, so 5, space 4, space plus, space 3, space 2, space 1, space subtract, space plus, space multiply. And then we'll have another println statement just to specify something else to the user. We'll say each token must be an integer or an operator. Plus, negative, multiply, divide. Then we'll set expression equal to scan dot next line. So whatever we enter here, it's going to ask you enter a valid postfix expression. Each token must be an integer and operator. Then the compiler's going to wait for input from the user. So whatever you enter, it's going to scan that in, and then it's going to say, then we'll say result equals evaluator dot evaluate. We'll call the evaluate method, and then we'll say expression. So we're just passing this. We're saying scan something, right? Then expression equals to that whatever we scan in. Now it's saying evaluate expression, because expression was set equal to whatever it scanned in. Now we're just saying evaluate expression, which is whatever we scanned in. Then we'll just system.out .println. Then we will system.out .println that expression equals, and then we'll say plus result. And then we'll ask if it wants to evaluate another expression. So evaluate another expression. We'll do a like command. And then we'll put a semicolon, and then we'll say again equals in dot next line. Oh, whoops, not in. Scan dot next line. And then we'll say system.out.println. We'll just print an empty line. And then in our do loop, the condition is after it does that, it's going to check. And then we're going to say while, iterate again if while, again, dot equals ignore case y. So it's saying if do this, so it's going to do this, it's going to have to do it at least one time. A do loop, it always has to iterate through at least one time, because if it's a while loop, then it's going to check that condition first, and if that condition's false, then it's going to skip the loop completely. But in this case, it's a do loop, so it's going to have to iterate through this whole block at least once. This block is here to here. And then it's saying while again dot equals ignore case. So equals ignore case is just the equals method that we used before. It's just checking if whatever equals to this, whatever the input is. So if it does equal to y, it doesn't matter if it's a lowercase or an uppercase. It's gonna set it equal to true if it's either uppercase or lowercase. So we'll just save that and run it, and I'm not sure if it's gonna work because it might be outdated. So we'll look at 32. What happened here? Okay, we'll try that. What happened? Stack dot push. Else stack dot push new integer, and then integer dot parse int token. Looking for 3 of them. Okay, try that. .54 break. Try that. Okay, so it does work. Okay, so we'll just use the example that we inputted. I think it's the same thing. So 5, 4 plus 3, 2, 1, subtract plus multiply. So I'll just input all those with a space. I haven't actually done this code in a while, so we'll just try it. Last time I just did it by hand, so 3, 2, 1 minus plus. So that expression equals 36. Evaluate another expression. We'll just say n. So it just ended. So we'll try to run this through like manually. So first case, so we start in main. We create these variables and a scanner object. So then we say create an object of type postfix evaluator, call it evaluator, and set it to new postfix evaluator. So in our postfix evaluator class, we have these variables defined. They're final static variables. And then we created a private stack variable that's set to hold integers, objects. There's one constructor that doesn't take any parameters, and it initializes that stack to a new stack that holds integer objects. That's all that's saying right there. And then it's saying system.out, so then it prints a message to the screen. These messages get printed out to the user, right? Then it says expression equals scan.next line. So whatever we typed in, so whatever we type in, we're gonna type something and it's asking for input to scan in. So we type this in right here. We type that expression in. It's a postfix expression. Then it's saying result equals our evaluator object calls the evaluate method. So we created this postfix evaluator object named evaluator, and it's of type postfix evaluator. So now we go into the postfix evaluator class. Then we look at this method here, public int evaluate. So right here, evaluator dot evaluate, and it's going to evaluate the expression. So what is the expression? Expression equals to whatever we inputted for input here. Input to scan in. We scan that input in. Then that scan input gets put right here. So it's saying evaluate that input that we just it's saying evaluate that input that we just inputted, right? So then we go to the evaluate method. Now we can just, whoops, why is it doing that? Okay, so we will say 5, 4 plus 3, 2, 1 minus positive multiply. So we're saying evaluate this expression right here. Because look, evaluator dot evaluate, we're calling the evaluate method. Right here, and that evaluate method is going to have a parameter, which is a string named express, or just expr. This evaluate method is going to take a string as a parameter. And in main, then we're saying object call the method, right? Call the method evaluate and pass expression as the string parameter. So that expression is the same thing as here. It's not the same name. You can name it the same, or you don't have to. But all it's saying is that it's taking a string. So here we're taking a string. So that string is the expression that we typed in here. So I just typed it in here just to try to write something here. So Now it's saying we define these local variables, and then it's saying scanner scan equals new scanner, and it's scanning the string that we've now passed like 4 times, which is this. It's passed that right here, and it's saying while scan.hasNext, so obviously scan is holding this whole string right now, so obviously scan is holding something. So while scan is holding something, so that's true. That's true currently. So then it goes down here into this brace. Then it's saying token is equal to scan.next. So scan.next finds and returns the next complete token from this scanner. A complete token is preceded and followed by input that matches the delimiter pattern. That's from the iterable interface, I think. Iterator. So then it's saying this method may block while waiting for input to scan, even if a previous invocation of hasNext returns true. So all it's saying is it's returning the next complete token. So the next complete token, 5, 4 plus 3, 2, 1 minus plus star. So return scan.next. So token equals scan.next, which is the first token in line. So if is operator. So now we're saying we have to go down. So remember it's a 5 right now. So we're saying, remember, just calling if is operator is saying if operator returns true. So it's saying if the token equals plus, well 5 doesn't equal a plus, so that's false. Or token dot equals a minus, well 5 isn't a minus, so that's also false. Or token dot equals multiply, well token doesn't equal, 5 is not multiply, so that's also false. Or token dot equals divide, 5 is not divide, so that's also false. So our token is not an operator, right? Just calling is operator returns true if token dot equals any one of these. So it wasn't any one of these, therefore it was false. So this whole condition gets skipped in the braces. So all that gets skipped because the condition was false. So now we're here, else stack.push new integer integer.parse in token. So now maybe we should just push these down here. I was gonna do it up here. Yeah, I'll just yeah, okay, fine, I'll do it here. So a stack, remember it's like a block, so there's like something like that. So when we push something onto a stack, it pushes like this. So each next thing gets pushed on, so whatever's on the bottom was the first one. So every time you push something, it goes on to the top. So when you want to pop something, the first thing on the stack gets popped off. Then you want to pop again, then the next thing gets popped off. If you want to push again, then something gets pushed on. It goes on like a tower, like kind of like blocks, right? And when that tower of blocks, you want to pop something, it just goes off like that. You pop it off. So right now we're saying stack.push new integer integer.parse in token. So now we're just pushing a 5 onto that stack. So we'll just do it here. So we push 5 on. So now scan.hasNext. So we're in that loop. So we just exited that first iteration. We've pushed 5 onto that stack, so we could technically just erase that since we've gone through it. So now it's saying while scan.hasNext. So do we have something else in that? Is the scanner still holding something? Yes, the scanner is holding something, so that's true. It goes into these braces now. So it's saying token equals to scan.next. token is equal to the next token that the scanner is holding. So if is operator. So again, now we're at this part, this method again. So if it's saying if, our token is 4. So if 4 is an operator, if. So it's saying if. So is operator returns true. So we could say that if is operator returns true if token dot equals plus, which is false. Doesn't equal a subtract because 4 isn't a subtract, 4 isn't a positive, 4 isn't a multiply, 4 isn't a divide. So all that's false. So if, we'll just say false, right? So if is operator is a token, that whole thing is false. So this whole thing is going to get skipped again. So now we're at the else clause. So it's saying stack.push. So now we're going to push 4 onto the stack. Then this while loop exits. No, we're still in the while loop. So it's gonna go back to the top of the while loop. It's gonna try to evaluate again. So it's gonna say while scan dot has next. So we can cross this off since we pushed it on. So while scan dot has next. So do we have something else? Is scanner still holding something else? Is it still holding a token? Yes, it is. That's true. So we're saying that token is equal to scan dot next. So if the positive is an operator, well, does token equal to plus? It does. So that's true. So this time we're going in to this block. So we're going to say OP1, OP2 equals to stack.pop. So we just pop this off. Right? Or we can just say popped off stacked. So then we'll say OP1 equals stack.pop. So this one also gets popped. So now result equals to evaluate single operator token.char at 0. So we go down to evaluate single operator. So then we'll say switch operation. So switch operation case add token.char at 0, right? Switch char operation. So switch operation. So if in this case it is, where is it? We have a plus. 4 popped off, 5 got popped off. Then we said if is operator token, which it is, then we popped it off, and then we said result equals evaluate single operator token dot char at 0. Yeah, so right now our scanner is holding that positive right there. So that is char at 0. So we're saying switch operation, char operation, switch operation. So yeah, so we're switching. So operation, right? Switch operation, so case add. Remember, when we defined this class, we said add is equal to plus. So result equals OP1 plus OP2. So if it's a add, if it's equal to plus, or it's a single quote plus, if it's equal to plus, therefore then add. So it's saying result equals OP1 plus OP2. So we're saying 4 plus 5. Where should I put this? I think I should put it here. So 9. We'll just erase this. Erase this. You know, this got popped off. This got popped off. So now push 9. So 9 got pushed onto the stack. So where are we doing that? So we're doing it here. So now we'll just create our new stack. We'll just push it there. We will delete all those. So now where are we? This is gone. So now we're at 3. Okay, so while scan.has has next, so that evaluates the true because it does have a 3. It does have a 3 as a token, so we're going to hit this brace. So token equals to scan.next. Token equals to scan.next, so 3. So token equals to 3. If 3 is an operator, it's not, right? 3 is in plus, whatever, subtract, multiply, divide, it's not, so this is false. So this brace to that brace gets skipped, so now we're at else. So push 3 onto the stack. So we push 3 onto the stack. This gets erased. Alright, now we're at 2. So we'll say while scan.has next. That's true. It does have 2 as a token. So we hit this brace. Token is equal to scan.has next. So token is equal to 2. If 2 is an operator, that's false. This brace to that brace gets skipped. So now we're at the else clause. We hit this else clause. This 2 gets pushed onto the stack. And we'll erase this. So now we're at 1. While scan.has next, that's true. It's holding a 1 in its token. Or its token is a 1. It's holding tokens. The next token is, next token is 1. So token equals to scan.next, so token is equal to the integer 1. Or the int. So if is operator, that's false. 1 is not an operator. That brace to that brace gets skipped. Else, now this else clause is going to execute. Stack.push 1. So 1 gets pushed onto the stack. Delete this. We can remove it. So now we're at subtract. So while scan.has next, that's true. Token equals scan.next. Token equals to subtract. If is operator. So it is an operator. Subtract is subtract. We go back to is operator. Return true if token.equals subtract. So if is operator is true. Now we hit these braces. So now we're going to pop these off. stack.pop. We're going to pop, remember it pops from the top, right? So we'll just say got popped. op1 equals stack.pop. So that got popped, so we'll just pretend it's gone. And then we'll say, well, not gone, it's here now. So then we'll say op1 equals stack.pop. So we'll just say got popped. So result equals evaluate single operator. We're at subtract. Yeah, we're at subtract now. So result equals evaluate single operator. Token.char at 0. Token. This is our char at 0. Single evaluate single operator is a subtract. So we hit this case. Result equals op1 minus op2. So op1 minus op2. Make sure you do it this way and not op2 minus op1. So it's op1 minus op2. So 2 minus 1. Whoops. So 2 minus 1 equals 1. So now we have 1. These can go. So now we push 1 onto the stack. Push on stack. So now, remember when you push something on the stack, it goes right to the top of the stack. We'll delete that. And then the subtraction's gone. Hopefully this is right. So then we'll say, yeah, I think this is right. So now we're at plus. So while scan.has has next, that's true, right? Then we'll say token equals scan.next. So token equals to plus. So if is operator, so we know how to deal with that. So plus is an operator. These braces get hit. This block gets executed. So we'll say op1 equals stack.pop, or sorry, op2 equals stack.pop. So op2 equals stack.pop, so this got popped. 1 gets popped. So we'll say 1. That's popped, so we can erase it. We've moved it here. Then we'll say op1 equals stack.pop. Got popped. We'll erase it. Then we say result equals to evaluate single operator. Token.char at 0, which is a plus because this is our string and it's asking for char at 0. So the 0th index is a addition sign. So we'll go into our method evaluate single operator, and it's going to hit the add because it's an add. Because remember here we define add equal to plus. So here we're saying result equals op1 plus op2. So now we're saying result equals 1 plus 3. 1 plus 3 equals 4. Then it's saying stack.push 4 onto the stack. We'll just say got pushed. We'll erase that. We'll erase that plus. Then finally we're at the last one. So now we'll say while scan.has has next. That condition is true. So then we'll say token equals scan.next. So token equals to multiply. If is operator, token. Well, it is an operator. It's multiply. So these braces get hit. So it's saying op1 equals stack.pop. We'll say popped. We'll pop it and we'll put it here. We'll erase it. op1 equals stack.pop. So op2 equals 4. And then we'll say op1 equals 1. What was it? It was 4. Was it 4? Yeah, 4. So 4 got popped here. Erase that. Then op1 equals stack.pop. That equals 9. We'll just say popped. That's gone now. So result equals evaluate single operator token.char at 0. This is all we have left is our 0th index in the string. Index 0 is just the multiply sign, the asterisk. So now we go to evaluate single operator to that method. Then it's saying multiply equals to the asterisk, right? Multiply equals asterisk. Then result equals op1 times op2. 4 times 9. 36. That's gone. There's nothing left. So while scan.has next equals true. Well, that's not true anymore. That's false because there's nothing left in our scanner. There's no token left to pass. So that whole while loop gets skipped. Then we return result. So we return 36. Now that whole method is finished. So we go into our main class. That's all finished, and we've returned result, which equals to 36. Then we've printed a new line. That's why we're here. That expression equals 36. We just evaluated that manually. Then evaluate another expression. We hit N. Then N was passed, and then we printed a new line. And that's what happened. That was our code. Because we didn't hit Y again, this do loop did not iterate again. So I know that was a long code, so I hope that helps. I hope I helped you learn how to evaluate postfix expressions using a stack. Alright, see ya.